Bag alert, bag alert, bag alert, bag alert. No, 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 no. Double bag alert. No, 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 no. Trip. No, 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 no. We have crested the mountaintop. Okay, folks. This isn't just a bag alert. This isn't just a double bag alert. No. This isn't just a triple bag alert. No. This is a quadruple bag alert. That's right. We got a quad. We hit a quad. To all the people that play Call of Duty, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We just hit a quad, folks. Quadruple bag alert. Okay, we got a loaded episode. This episode might be even our first hour-long episode. Okay. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to discuss, okay? Trent Williams is back, okay? Cam gets paid. Michael Carter II resets the slot cornerback market. And PS2 resets the cornerback market as well as, okay? Because that we're just not going to talk about that. We got a whole lot to talk about, okay? We're going to do something a little bit different as well. The Ravens and Chiefs. That's right. We got football. Okay, on Thursday night at 8 o'clock. It's either 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. I don't care about it, okay? Because I'm going to be there. Turmoil in the Jets facility continues. Is Dabo Swinney becoming stagnant? Yes, that's right. We're going to be talking about some college football as well because we have to. Because why? We are the Football Junkies podcast, and anything related to football we must discuss and talk about, as well as can the Bengals come to a conclusion with Ja'Marr Chase and get a deal done for him? All of this and more, okay, on the 32nd episode of the greatest football podcast known to civilization, okay? You are listening to Bagro Damas. You are listening to the chief, head of the table, chief Bagro meteorologist, okay, as well as your GM, who currently is still not on a team right now, but I am receiving under the table payments from Georgia, Alabama, and Michigan. Don't check those numbers. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. I'm getting my extra 25 cents in a ticket stub, okay? I'm getting all of that and more, okay? But most importantly, I am your host, a title that I love the most. I am your host, your GM. That's right, your GM. You already know what I'm getting ready to say. You already know what I'm getting ready to say. This is going to be a loaded episode. So guess what? You better have a tall task ahead of you. If you got some dishes that you got to do, guess what? You're going to get everything done while you're listening to greatness, okay? If you got to fix that car, if you got to clean the car out, clean that back seat because you know you've been putting all of your snacks in the back seat, just know this episode is going to be long enough for you to get the task done. I am your host, Kale. You already know what I'm getting ready to say. On 3, 1, 2, 3, lock in. All right, folks, let's just get into the meat and the potatoes of everything that's going on in the football universe, megaverse, verse, whatever you want to call it. Okay, who are we going to start with? We're going to start with the linemen because why? Linemen deserve love. Okay, the big guys deserve love. Okay, and who we start off with? Literally one of the greatest left tackles of our generation, Trent Williams. Okay, he has inked a 3-year, $82.6 million extension, okay? He gets $48 million guaranteed at signing. He gets a $25.6 million signing bonus, okay? Now, we got to put in some notes just so we can add a little bit more context to this deal, okay? This is the most cash for any lineman in year one, okay? At $27.65 million. Cool. This is the most guaranteed money for any lineman since 2021 at $103 million. He just got the bag again. He got it. It worked. Even though, yes, he is going to have to pay fines per the CBA and whatnot, that is literally just a crumb to everything, to all the other money that he's bringing in, okay? as I've said before, and I've said this in multiple not podcasts, but in multiple episodes, Trent Williams deserved his money. Okay, once Christian Darrisaw got his money, everybody knew that Trent Williams was going to want more money. Everybody knew that because why? He is still the best left tackle in the game right now, and that's no disrespect to Christian Darrisaw, but Trent Williams is on a whole nother level. Even at this point in his career, people would have thought, "Oh man, you're starting to see a little bit of decline." No, he is still holding his own with the best of the best. He is still putting people in the ground, okay? That is who Trent Williams is. As I've said before, and this is a factual stat, you can find it on NFL Pro. Since the 49ers traded for Trent Williams, they started to run the ball more on his side, and they were doing it at a more successful rate. That shows you that he is not only just an impactful player, but he is a game changer. Okay, that's just who he is. And granted, I understand. There were people saying, "Well, Trent Williams should have just try to be there." No, he doesn't have to, because why? If he wanted to, realistically speaking, here, Trent Williams could have walked away from football and not care, because why? He has solidified his career. He has. He's going to go down in history as one of the greatest left tackles of all time. He is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's getting a gold jacket. Okay, that is a 100% guarantee. He's made well over $100 million. He's good. He doesn't have to do anything else. He has nothing else to prove. The only other thing that he probably will want is probably just a ring, just to sweeten the deal, and just to end things on on the right footing. That's it. Other than that, he's done everything else that there is to do. He's gone up against the best of the best his entire career, right? So it was only a matter of time before the 49ers were going to do it. Now, I will say this, and this is why I made the title for this episode the way the one. I can't even speak. It's definitely the coffee. I'm super excited because we got a quadruple bag alert. Okay, this is the first time we've ever had a quadruple bag alert. You guys did not understand how excited I was. Okay, I thought it was going to be just a normal, just bag alert, or a double bag alert, or a triple bag alert, but no. This is different. This is different. Okay, but back to Trent Williams. This is the last dance for the 49ers. I don't care what anyone says. You can bash me all you want. You can fight me all you want. You can do all those different type of things. This is the last dance. This is the curtain call for the 49ers. And the reason why I'm saying that is because at this point, there is no other better opportunity that the 49ers have than now. You have to win now to justify every single move that the 49ers have made within the past 5 to 6 to 7 or 8 years. You have to, because you've taken care of all of your players. You've paid all your superstars. You've done all those different types of things. Now it's time for you to win a Super Bowl. And not to mention, everybody knows once I can't even speak. Once the team starts to enter the phase where they have to pay the quarterback, that same cap flexibility that they used to have is going to be very limited. So that means instead of them going after a player that is looking for a new deal, you can just add on, more guarantees and whatnot, or you can just give them a whole spanking brand new deal and probably reset the market for that individual position. Now you're going to have to make a decision on probably going after a player who has an expiring contract or has no guarantees. And all you have to do is just add on maybe 10 to 15 million in more guarantees compared to going after a younger, more viable player. That's just what it is at this point. Not to mention they've done a lot. They've traded, for multiple players. They traded for Christian McCaffrey, traded for Trent Williams. They paid George Kittle, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Gravedigger. They traded away DeForest Buckner. They traded away Eric Armstead. They did all those different types of things, right? And at some point, you have to win at least one. I'm not saying that you have to win 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm not saying that. You won't even be able to with this core. But you have to win one. Just one. Because at this point, it feels like they're trying to buy a Super Bowl. And you can never buy a Super Bowl, right? And this is sort of a reason why I think we have to, in some ways, and this was a point that I had thought of when the Brandon Ayuk news, came down and he finally got paid. This is why I think we have to appreciate the Patriots dynasty more, because a lot of the turmoil and foolishness and conundrum that the 49ers are having, you would have never heard that from the Patriots, because the Patriots would have just shipped people off, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That whole we'll ship you away 2 years, before, then 2 years after. Trust and believe, there would have been a lot of turnover with this 49ers thing. Let's just be honest here. But I think it's important to note that, the pressure is really on John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan to win a Super Bowl. If I'm management, I'm looking at you every single week of this upcoming season. And I'm emphasizing, like, listen, I want to be able to hold a Lombardi. One Lombardi. That's it. If we can hold up one Lombardi, I won't care. Because I done wrote so many checks. I done resetted the market for so many different players. And we haven't been able to do anything. And it's hard, and I get it. It's hard to go to the Super Bowl, let alone win the Super Bowl. I get that. But when you've had multiple opportunities and you've been in multiple Super Bowls and you have been as close as you can in both instances to win a Super Bowl and you choked, that falls on you. That falls on you. It doesn't fall on anybody else. That falls on you, especially when it was a coaching decision, not necessarily a player decision. In 2019, when they went up against the Chiefs, what did they do? If I'm not mistaken, I think they stopped running the ball. They wanted to pass the ball more. And in doing so, guess what happened? They lost the game. They gave the Chiefs leverage, and they were able to come back and win. Same thing with this past Super Bowl, right? Now, that one was a little bit different because both teams were gassed. I'm talking about they were tired, but it was just that Chiefs defense, they started to get hot. They started to have some momentum. And they just sealed the deal. And then you have Patrick Mahomes, doing Patrick Mahomes things. And, this is the situation that you're in right now. So I say all that to say this. If the 49ers do not win, it's going to be hard to really, look at Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch as, one of the best, coaching GM duos in this league. It really is. Because if we're being real here, the teams that you really have to worry about are the Lions, the Eagles, the Ravens, of course the Chiefs, and somebody else that might be a dark horse, right? You don't really have to worry about anybody else. So if you can maintain this course, and if you can try to win as many games as you possibly can, hey, I mean, it's there. It's there. The chance for you to go back to the Super Bowl is there, but you have to want to be able to get there and to finish the job. Not get halfway, not get to the Super Bowl and do everything that you're supposed to do and then choke away. No, you have to finish it you have to do it from start to finish. You have to. And if you don't, then guess what's going to happen? Everyone's really going to label you a choke artist. That's really what it is. And Kyle Shanahan has been having that label, since the whole Falcon situation. Choke artist. So Kyle, you gotta do something, bro. You gotta do something. You can't say, oh, we was devoid of, talent and whatnot. No. You have multiple Hall of Famers on your team, on both sides of the ball. Chris McCaffrey, Hall of Famer. Trent Williams, Hall of Famer. I don't know about Nick Bosa. I don't know about Fred Warner. Well, you know what? Forget about that. Forget about that. But that's all I have to say for the 49ers. Hopefully they win. If they don't, well then, oh well, I don't care because guess what? It's not my team. Okay, moving forward to the other offensive lineman on the other side of the ball. Cameron Hayward, defensive tackle for the sixth time. Sixth time. You thought I wasn't going to do it, but I was going to do it. Sixth time. Sixth time. Sixth time. Sixth time. Super Bowl champions. Yes, I did that. I'm going to continue to do that. Now, if we have a second episode this week, I might just do it again. Ha! Yes, I'm going to do it. Oh, and I'm letting you guys know right now, to all the people that are Cowboys fans, when you guys do have to go up against us, and if you guys do lose, just know, I've already told my friends who are Cowboys fans, you will be getting called out on that episode. You have been warned. Now, back to our regular programming. Cameron Hayward inked a quote-unquote 3-year, $45 million extension to stay with the Steelers, $29 million guaranteed, and apparently he gets a $15+ million signing bonus. Now, this is what I'll do first, okay? I'm going to explain it, and then we're going to sort of go into a deep dive. So essentially, from a media standpoint, they're reporting it as a 3-year, $45 million deal. When in actuality, it's actually a 2-year deal, right? And so basically what they did was they converted his base salary, if I'm not mistaken, for this year, they converted it into a signing bonus, which actually saves the team actually about $9+ million in cap space, right? And so, when we look at this here, according to NFL Pro, last season, the Steelers were more effective in defending the run with Cam on the field than off. And so, this is what I will say. Okay, I was definitely on the fence about giving an extension to Cam simply because of the injury that he had suffered, and just seeing how a lot of times when teams give these older players these bigger time contracts, how it affects them, not immediately, but like later on down the road. I've seen it, and it just doesn't end well. But for this to be essentially a 2-year extension, it's actually really good. It's definitely a team friendly deal. And let's be real here, folks. Cam Hayward as a run stuffer is still one of the best, right? Now, when it comes to pass rush moves and all those different types of things, that's a different conversation for a different type of day, okay? But when it comes to run stuffing, he is still one of the best. And that's what the Steelers need him for. They need him to be a run stuffer. And you can still play in the league, at an older age as a run stuffer. Look at Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell, as old as he is still one of the best of the best. Especially at run stuffing. He's not, being a pass rusher and all those different types of things. He is mainly for clogging up the middle. And that's what Cam is doing, basically. And so, it was definitely some turmoil. You can definitely, see, in the earlier parts of the offseason, him emphasizing that he wants to be here. And, he just wants to be compensated and whatnot. And he doesn't want to follow into the same footsteps that other Steelers greats have fallen, where, basically they've been, booted into retirement. When you look at Troy's situation, we look at Hines Ward's situations, and, other noticeable players. So, all in all, he's, He wants to stay with this team as long as he can, and I don't blame him for it. I think the team is still in a good place. I think next year, I will say this as an early prediction, I do think that with them emphasizing on offensive line for the past 2 years, I think they're now going to shift towards the defensive line, because as of right now, the only upside that you have on the defensive line is Keanu Benton. And you need somebody else along with Keanu Benton in order to make things really productive, right? And with it being a defensive heavy class and multiple really good defensive prospects are coming out are coming out next year, like Mason Graham and Deion Walker, I mean, that's a good opportunity, right? If you get one of those two, right, and you have them to just sit and to learn under someone like a Cameron Hayward, that's great. that's great because then he understands the traditions, the culture, the standards, all those different types of things. And once Cam feels like, okay, this is my last ride, I'm ready to go out. I did everything that I could do. Cool. That way that it's in the hands of the next generation of great Steelers defensive linemen, because that's what they need at this point. They need to bolster up the defensive line, because just having T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, Larry Ogunjobi, Cameron Hayward, Keanu Benton, that's not going to get it. They got to bring in some fresh blood at this point. And, to the people that say that, oh, Cam is washed, this and the other, Cam has been more productive and more consistent, even when he was hurt last year. Even when a lot of people were saying that injury was worse than what it was and that he probably should have stayed out, for the season and whatnot, he still came in and he still tried to do his part. And you can't take that away from him compared to Larry Ogunjobi, who, no disrespect to him, but ever since that foot injury and ever since he left the Bengals, he has not been the same player. He just has not. And it shows. Sure, you'll see, flashes and, here, there, and everywhere, but it still does. You still don't see the same player that what you saw from a few years ago. Case in point, that is why he didn't get the deal that he got from the Bengals. Because not the Bengals, from the Bears. Because originally he was supposed to ink a crazy deal with the Bears. But the only reason why he didn't get that deal was because he failed his physical because of his Liz Frank injury. If you guys don't know what Liz Frank injury is, it's basically an injury under your foot. And so basically, like, it can make your foot feel like real tender and like real uncomfortable. So like, what's the best way to put it? There's a lot of nerves like under your feet, and sometimes if they're damaged and whatnot, it can like really it can be really painful and whatnot. So, I say all that to say this, even though I just became a quick doctor for a second, but who cares? This was definitely a great deal. It's glad that this is a team friendly deal. Now that this is taken care of, all you have to worry about is Pat Freiermuth, and even then with Pat Freiermuth as your back row dominant, since I'm going to put out this prediction, I don't even think that deal is going to be relatively, as crazy as what people think it is. I think when you look at the numbers, the initial numbers, I think people are probably going to like blow it out of proportion, going to be thinking, oh, this is horrible, this is bad for the team, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 when it's like, no. When you look at the structure of the deal, then you're going to be like, okay, I get it now, right? And so, honestly speaking, it's a good situation. It's a really good situation. The Steelers have, cap space just in case if they need to make a move, in season and whatnot. So, all in all, a great situation for them. Now, on to the other person. So, cornerback, slot cornerback, Michael Carter II for the Jets inked a 3-year, $30.75 million deal that can go up to $33 million, okay? $19 million in total guarantees. He'll be making $10.2 million a year, okay? So according to NFL Pro, last season he had the third highest tight window target rate in the season at 38.2%, okay? The minimum was 40 targets, okay? And of course, as I've just said, he is the highest paid slot corner in the league. So when you look at it here, the slot cornerback market has definitely started to grow substantially with over the past few years. It's now, do I think it'll probably get to the point where like where it is for the for corners? I don't know. I really don't know. But slot corners have definitely become more effective and are being used more by defensive coordinators. I can't speak. I'm just so excited. You guys understand. I'm super excited. They're starting to use slot corners in a more creative way instead of just lining up and covering, receivers are in the slot. They're using them in different blitz packages and, all those different, different types of schemes and whatnot, and they're working. And when you have someone like Michael Carter, who has been really productive and has been one of the most productive slot corners in the league, then this is what happens. And not to mention, it's a deal that doesn't necessarily break the bank. It's only 10.2 million a year. That's not really that bad. It really isn't. Especially when you have someone who has been, as consistent as he's been and has been as productive as he's been, in the slot. It's only right that he gets his that he gets his payday. And what's crazy is, as soon as the news dropped for that, Mike Hilton posted the gif of Kevin Hart when he's just nodding his head and whatnot. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Hilton will probably be looking for more money once this offseason is done and whatnot. But on to the bigger, okay, back alert, okay. Patrick Surtain, PS2, okay, inked a 4-year, $96 million deal, $77.5 million guaranteed, and he'll be making $24 million a year. Now, this is what I will say. I was close. But when we look at things, though, right? According to SpotRack, the market value that they had for him was the 3 years, $66.5 million, $22 million a year. Now, as your back row dominance, I have to put this in there. My prediction was 3 years, $73 million, $24.3 million a year. Now, when we look at this is definitely a curveball because I was not expecting this at all. But PS2 coming into the league was a lockdown corner, right? And has held his own against some of the best receivers in the league, okay? I'm talking about, he's gone up against Keenan Allen. He's gone up against Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson and company. And when you all ask them, who are the top corners that, that give you the problems, most of the times they're going to bring up PS2. And, I remember vividly when PS2 was coming out of Alabama, I wanted the Steelers to get Patrick Surtain so bad because I know that he was automatically going to be a number one lockdown corner. And there was nothing that you can say otherwise. You are talking about somebody who is sticky in coverage, who with no help holds his own. I'm talking about a straight up dog when it comes to covering one-on-one, mano-a-mano against some of the best route running receivers, some of the best physical receivers, just some of the best receivers in the league, right? Not to mention, apparently, this offseason, that 2018 Alabama group has generated well over $1 billion in NFL contracts this year. And this just shows how great that team was, how great that core was. And, kudos to Alabama and to Nick Saban for all the things that he did. I know a lot of people give him a lot of slack for all the various sound bites and clips that we see on social media and whatnot. But, that coaching generated, well over $1 billion in NFL contracts this year for all those players that was on that team. So all in all, I think it's a W, honestly. And it's, the Broncos keep a number one corner on their team. Great. Now the question is, how are they going to build off of that, right? Because again, there's going to be defensive minded. I mean, not defensive minded. There's going to be a defensive heavy draft class. So I mean, there is a corner. If you get that other corner, you're going to have two lockdown corners on your team. I'm not going to give who the names. Will Johnson, Michigan. But yeah, so yeah, this is a really good situation for the Broncos, because let's be real here. If PS2 would have hit free agency, you would have never been able to get him back. Never, ever, 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 ever. Okay. Now, speaking of corners, this will probably be my prediction for Sauce. I would say Sauce is probably going to get 25. I think so. I think Sauce is definitely going to get 25 because, and that's probably counting. That's probably not even counting if he doesn't win a Defensive Player of the Year or any major award and whatnot. If he wins a major award and, he has somewhat of a better statistical season than what PS2 has had, like a legendary historic season, oh, bring in the bank. Just bring the whole bank with you. Bring the tellers, bring the money machine, bring the vault, bring all those things. Just bring it to the Jets facility right then and there. Just bring it. Just bring it, because he is going to cash in, folks. Now that we've gotten all the bag alerts out the way, we got to get into the real nooks and crannies of this episode, okay? So we got football, okay? Ravens and Chiefs start off the season, okay? The red carpet has been laid. It is now time for people to walk down and do the do, okay? Now, this is what I will say. I'm going to start with the Ravens first, then we're going to go over to the Chiefs. The Ravens, a lot is riding on this year for the Ravens, right? And the reason why I say that is because this game could be the start of a great season or bad season, right? I'm going to say that again. This could be the start of a great season or bad season. And the reason why I say that is because you want to make this game a statement game, right? You want this game to make a statement to let people know that, listen, last year that was on us. We didn't want to run the ball. But guess what? We're going to make it right this year. We're going to make it right. And this is how you do it. This is the opportunity that you get. If they punch the Chiefs in the mouth, I mean, we got to have a different conversation, folks. We do. Because, if I was a Ravens player and if I was there and, they do the whole ceremony where they drop down the banner or however they do it, and they show the rings and different and what I think I might be mixing basketball. I think I'm mixing basketball for sure. I don't know what they do, but I know they probably do something for the Super Bowl champions. If I'm a Ravens player, that's gonna piss me off. Because in my mind that should have been us, right? And that should make you want to take the extra mile for everything. Secure the tackle, make a play, make a block, make an interception, get a sack, all those different types of things. It should make you want to go the extra mile because, again, as of right now, the Chiefs are the kings of the NFL. They are the Super Bowl champions. And right now, the Ravens are really close to dethroning them, and they can dethrone them. They have the roster to do it. They went and got Derrick Henry, which was great. They drafted Nate Wiggins and also TJ Tampa. They have Kyle Hamilton. They have Roquan. They have Nnamdi Metabuke. He changed his name, so apparently, yes, on side note, he's not Justin Metabuke anymore. He's changing his name back to his original name, which is Nnamdi Metabuke. Now, this is what I'll say moving back to football. The Ravens have to show, they have to be dominant. They have to come out guns blazing. They have to, because if they don't, everyone's going to say, oh man, the Ravens are washed, man. All the things that they did in the offseason was for nothing. They're not going to do anything. No. You got to come out here and you got to put Patrick Mahomes on the ground. Every chance that you can get. Make this an old, physical, old school Ravens game. That's the only way that you're going to be able to go anywhere. You have to put Patrick Mahomes in the ground. You have to be in his face at all times, because if you give him a little bit of leeway, he's going to come back. We've seen it before multiple times in small games and in big games, and even moments where people are doubting Patrick Mahomes. He always finds a way. But this Ravens defense, especially that offense, they have the weapons and the firepower to do something different. Now, on to the Chiefs side. The Chiefs, they're in a situation where they could go down and be historic. They can be the first NFL team to win to do a three-peat. But at the same time, the road to the Super Bowl this year is going to be the most difficult that they've ever experienced this, up until this point. Because why? For one, that offense, they're going to have to rely so much, not only on Travis Kelce, but on the run game, just to make up for the lack that they have in the receiving core, right? You still don't know what's going to happen with Rashee Rice. You still don't know. You still don't know how long he's going to be suspended for. Some people have thrown out half a season. Some people have thrown out just 3 or 4 games. We don't know, right? Not to mention, Hollywood Brown is still coming off of injury as well. So, that's going to take some time to, to grow and whatnot. Other than that, who else do you have in that receiving room that you can consistently rely on? You can't rely on Juju. You can't. You can't rely on Juju, right? You could probably feed it to him a few times, but to say that, you could give it to him 20, 30, 40 different times a game, no. That's not where Juju is at this point in his career. So you have that mixed with, the defense. The defense has lost a lot of players, to the offseason. They have. And, Trent McDuffie, okay, he's pretty good, but he wasn't, what L'Jarius Sneed was. And granted, the Chiefs knew that they weren't going to be able to pay both Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. They knew that. So they just made a decision where, okay, we have to prioritize Chris Jones and just have to, let go of L'Jarius Sneed at that point. And that's what they did. Not to mention, there's just a lot of question marks for this Chiefs team. And I feel like, this is an early prediction. I do feel like they're going to be a little bit active, by the trade deadline, just to patch up some holes and try to make some upgrades at certain positions. Because, again, I do feel like there's going to be some receivers that are going to be shopped around, around the trade deadline. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs, try to dip their hand and try to make a move. I wouldn't, because they know that, as of right now, this receiving core, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not. But can it be manageable? Yes. It can be manageable, because why? You still have Andy Reid, who could come up with a whole bunch of different creative plays and whatnot that can, not only get you down the field, but could also put points on the board. So let's just wait and see what happens, with this game. But again, a lot is riding on this game for both sides of the ball. It is. But I feel like more pressure is on the Ravens side than it is on the Chiefs side, but only time will tell. Now, on to somewhat of a scathing but not surprise report that's come out lately. So, according to Ben Standing, a reporter for The Athletic, an anonymous agent has somewhat come out on the turmoil that's happened within the New York Jets building. Okay, so this is what he said, and I quote, "There is complete disarray over there. Look at how they've handled Aaron Rodgers. Has one player had more power than him? He skipped minicamp. They have been unable to convert him into a team player. The vibe inside the building is terrible." Now, this is what I will say, to this anonymous, I can't speak. This is a difficult word, right? I know. To the anonymous agent that has come out and said this, I don't know why you're not surprised, right? Aaron Rodgers, at this point, if you think that he's going to be a team player, you are sadly mistaken. Aaron Rodgers is about him. Him, okay? And, granted, he's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and, all those various accolades and all that other different type of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, since being traded to the Jets, he has basically wielded, an iron fist around that team. And they have done little to nothing about it. They haven't, right? And, when we look at this, it's a nasty situation. It is. And, he's basically somewhat become of a snake oil salesman. Hey, and he has sold this dream that basically, oh yeah, we're going to go to the Super Bowl, we're going to do this, that, and the other, blah, 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 all this different type of stuff. We're going to be great. We're going to be competitive. We're going to be the Jets, Jets, Jets. No, stop. Get some help. Drink some water, because you're lying. You're lying. Let's call it for what let's call a spade here, folks. This has been a shit show with this whole acquisition of Aaron Rodgers. It has been, because it's always been about him. The spotlight always has to been about him. And, at this point, Robert Saleh is going to lose his job because of Aaron Rodgers. That's just what it is. He's going to lose his job because of Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers' ignorance and inability to be a team player and try to change, his perception that a lot of people have about him. It's just a horrible situation. It really is. I can't even really come up with the words about it, because it's like he is really, selling it like, oh, yeah, we're competitive. Yeah, we're going to be great, this, and the other. But then you have quotes of like, we have to, eliminate the BS out of the, out of the building and whatnot. Well, if the shoe fits, wear it. Because if I'm not mistaken, there's only one person that's really been bringing in the BS, and that's been you, Aaron. It's been nobody else. It's been you. It's been specifically you, no one else. And, everyone is trying to come together, try to be competitive, and try to actually do something different than what the normal Jets teams have done in the past. And everyone is looking to you because you've been there. You've won a Lombardi. You've experienced the confetti. You've experienced holding a Lombardi trophy. You experienced all those different emotions and feelings and whatnot when you win a championship. They haven't. They're trying to experience it. And they know that, listen, you are the only person that can take us to that point. And they trust you enough that you are going to do it. And so far, you have not done it. Now, granted, I can't get on him as much last year simply because he got hurt. That was out of his control, right? But at the end of the day, there should have been a different mindset, a different tone. Just everything should have been different after last season. It just should have been different. And it hasn't. And, I would not be surprised that once this whole Aaron Rodgers dream, because that's exactly what it is. It's nothing else. It's just a dream. I think once this is over with, I think you're going to see a lot of reports from anonymous players and, people within the front office and, just people within that Jets locker room, front office, wherever, management, wherever. You're going to hear a lot of the scathing reports about Aaron Rodgers. You are. Because he's just moving to the beat of his own drum. And I granted, at this point of his career, he can have a little bit of leeway and whatnot. But if you want to set a different tone, if you want to set a different culture, if you want to change, if you want to have people have a different mindset, then you have to be the person to do it because you're the quarterback. And people look to the quarterback to change things, right? And if you're just, coming off as lackadaisical, nonchalant, not really giving a care about, about trying to win or let alone just be competitive, then guess what? It's going to show. And it's showing. It's showing. And, maybe things change. Maybe the switch, changes, once the season starts. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not surprised that something like this has come out. And I would not be surprised if more stuff comes out before Thanksgiving. I would not be surprised. Now, on to Dabo Swinney. Yes, we're doing something with college football. We finally decided, I finally decided to do something with college football simply because, it's college football. NFL football is great, but there's a lot. There's a lot going on with college football. So Dabo Swinney, head coach for Clemson, basically just got eviscerated. I'm talking about eviscerated by Georgia this past weekend. And, a lot of Clemson, fans are really pissed. They want Dabo. They want Dabo front and center. I'm talking about bring him here. He must go immediately. They lost to Georgia 34-3. 34-3. That scoreline right there is a scoreline of basically the older cousin beating the younger cousin, okay? That's basically what it is. And this is horrible, okay? So these just a few notes that I decided to jot down before we get into the the meat and potatoes about this particular topic. So as of right now, Dabo Swinney has 170 wins, 44 loss record, eight ACC championships and two national championships, both in 2016 and 2018. Hasn't appeared in the playoffs since 2020. He has a buyout, according to Spot Rack, of $60 million in both this year and next year. He's can't even speak. He's had multiple players, come out and be successful. Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Mike Williams, T. Higgins, Justin Ross, Hunter Renfrow, Travis Etienne, just to name a few. And, Clemson has not started a single transfer player in the portal era. And, they were the only team to not add a transfer this offseason. So when we look at all of this, this is what I will say. And this is, this is the perfect analogy to run with it. You ever known, or you ever heard the analogy, if it's not broke, don't fix it? That's what Dabo Swinney is. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? And, for the longest time, during the 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, he was at the top. He was at the top of his game. He was the creme de la creme. Clemson was a place that a lot of people wanted to go to. A lot of people, switched their transfers and, they're not transfers, switched their commitments from other colleges and went to Clemson and whatnot, just because of the notoriety and the aura and those different types of things. But now it's basically become stagnant, and it shows. It definitely shows. And granted, I understand Georgia is one of the best college football, teams, in college football. I get all of that. But at the same time, 34-3, Dabo, that's not good. That's not good, bro. That's horrible. That's absolutely atrocious. And if I'm a Clemson fan, I would rightfully be upset, because since Trevor Lawrence was the quarterback, they have not done anything, and that's horrible. You are living in an era now where the transfer portal is basically your best friend if you're a coach, right? And you have to rely sometimes on the transfer portal. And I get it. I understand that you don't want to do different things and change might be different, all those different types of things. I get that. But at some point, you have to adapt to the changing times. And if you do not adapt to the changing times, you yourself are going to be stagnant, and then you are going to fail. And that is what happened with Clemson, right? Because remember, Clemson used to be almost a factory, and I'm talking about they used to produce multiple first rounders and high quality players. Now, did all those players pan out? No, not really, but that's another story for another day though. But when we look at it now, it's everything has just become stagnant with them. Both sides of the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if they're still running the same offense that they did in 2016 and 2018. I would not be surprised. I just wouldn't. You have to make some changes at some point. And, to the people that would say, well, what about Nick Saban? And what is that the reason why he left Alabama? No, the reason why that he left is because he realized and he knew that he could not do his job effectively with the NIL and with the structure of the NIL in place. He knew that. He knew that I can't do my job as a coach and try to bring the best out of these players when all we're talking about is money. Right? And you're having players who have NIL deals where they're getting $5 or $6 million a year. Or better yet, there is an NIL deal, and I'm not lying when I say this. I think he is the quarterback for Ole Miss. He literally gets a private jet to go to any of the college games if he wanted to. I'm gonna say that again, just in case you didn't hear it. Better yet, I'm gonna get a little bit closer to the mic so you can hear me. Okay? There is a quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, at Ole Miss, who has an NIL deal where he gets a private jet to go to any of the college football games. Now, if you're someone like Coach Saban, who coaches hard, and, emphasizes on hard work and, all those different types of things, you would lose it. You would lose it because it's like, bro, I can't. What makes you different from everybody else? Nothing. Nothing. And, it's frustrating. So either way you look at it, I think Clemson is in a point where they can still go back to being that competitive team they used to give not only teams like Alabama and LSU and Georgia and other Power Five schools problems, but I think they could definitely be dominant, in their own conference. But it has to start from the top. And Dabo Swinney, has the power and the leverage to make those type of changes. And if you are not willing to make those changes, well, then guess what? You are still going to be stagnant, and then you're basically going to be pressured to, to just get the buyout and go. At this point, that's basically where we're starting to get to, because when you saw that 2016 Clemson team, and especially that 2018 Clemson team, those were dynamic, great, college football teams, and just to see that fall from grace just happening, it's bad. It's really bad, and that's probably why Nick Saban, left when he left, because he probably saw, like, listen, between the NIL deals and everything that's coming with that, it's probably going to be hard. And granted, he was somebody that was for, players getting compensated and whatnot, but the wildness that, and somewhat of a, well, not cowboy, but just the dysfunction of the NIL structure is just so bad at this point, that when you have a coach like Nick Saban who, is somewhat old school, it can be hard, because it's like, bruh, how in the world can you try to convince a kid to come to practice on time, do the drills, go to class and all those different types of things, when he's got an NIL deal where he gets a new car, and he's making about $2 or $3 million a year, right? Like, that's that's going to be hard. That's going to be really hard to do. And that's where we are right now. And that's why you see certain coaches like Dabo Swinney who have become stagnant and, are regressing instead of progressing. And at some point, they're probably going to be kicked out. Not surprised. He'll go down as, as if not the best Clemson coach of all time, one of the best Clemson coaches of all time. But, at some point, you got to get to the end of the road. If I could play Jodeci End of the Road, I would play it right now, but don't want to get sued for that, so we're not going to do it. But moving on to the final topic, though. Yes, we have to talk about the Bengals, the Bungles. Yes, the Bungles. Yes. So apparently things are still in a somewhat of a crapshoot between the Bengals and Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr Chase is still looking for a deal, but, it's been really stagnant. This is what I will say. Do I think a deal could probably get done within the next 48, 72 hours, probably before game day? Yes, it can. It's happened before. It's happened multiple times. But do I think the Bengals have their feet, in the sand, and then basically drawn their line and basically let it be known that they're not going to do it? Yes, I do believe that. But at some point, if you're Ja'Marr Chase, you just have to. It is what it is. It is what it is. That's the mindset that you have to have at this point. Because if you don't, you're not only going to hurt yourself, but you're also going to hurt the team as well. Because they need Ja'Marr Chase on the field. They need him. If Ja'Marr Chase is not on that field, that is a whole different Bengals game. I mean, a whole different Bengals team. And you don't want that. You do not want that. So I say all that to say this. Is Ja'Marr Chase, trying to reset the market? He probably is trying to reset the market. But if I'm the Bengals, I'm not about to do that. No, I'm not about to do that. Especially when I just did it for Joe Burrow. No, I'm not doing that. Sure, I'll pay you in the pay range of between Brandon Ayuk and who was the person that just got paid? Who's the person that just got paid? I know someone just got paid. And CeeDee Lamb, I'll probably pay you in that range. But to say that I'm going to pay you, this crazy amount of money, like more than what Justin Jefferson is getting, no, I'm not doing that. And I would definitely support that because Ja'Marr Chase is not better than Justin Jefferson. He's not. Not even by a mile is he better than Justin Jefferson. Come on, man. What are we talking about? So, it's just a very difficult situation. It's a very rocky situation, especially when you have Zach Taylor, who essentially put his foot in his own mouth and saying, "Oh yeah, Ja'Marr Chase is going to practice. Oh yeah, he's definitely going to be here for practice." And then guess what? The next day, guess what Ja'Marr Chase did? He came there late and in street clothes. So after that, Zach Taylor was like, "You know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to wait and see, just like everybody else is doing." So maybe, maybe not, but who knows? Because even when we look at SpotRack's market value for Ja'Marr Chase, it's only at $31 million, right? So what they have for him is a 3-year, $93 million deal, which, like I just said, is $31 million. So roughly, 31, that's still a really good number. It really is. And even then, if the Bengals wanted to, they could front load the deal. There's so many different ways that they could structure this deal. So, the longer that this thing draws out, the worse it sort of looks like on both parties. But at the same time, it's a difficult situation because guess what? If you pay Ja'Marr Chase, then, you're definitely going to limit yourself, moving forward. You are. And, I don't know if the Bengals want to do that. I think the Bengals still want to be competitive without having to, reset the market for this person, that person. But at the same time, even though I keep going in and out and contradicting myself sometimes, this is the price that you pay when you draft superstars, right? Ja'Marr Chase, superstar. Joe Burrow, star, not superstar, just star. You didn't hear from me. But moving forward, that's what happens. The case in point, that's why they had to let go of Joe Mixon because the price tag for the offense started to get a little bit expensive, and it's just a nasty situation. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised by the time I'm done with this episode and I'm starting to edit this episode. Guess what's gonna happen? Boom, 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 boom. Ja'Marr Chase inks a deal. I would not be surprised, and if that happens, I am going to cry. But I'm going to end it here. If you guys like what you're listening, please, 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 please like, share, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, leave a 5-star review wherever that you get your football junkies fix. Okay, to my YouTube people, like, share, subscribe, turn that notification bell on, leave a comment down below. Okay, follow us on YouTube. Jesus, I'm drawing a blank here. Football_Junkies Pod. Again, that's Football_Junkies Pod. Junkies Pod is not what? It is together, not space. Bam. Now, to my TikTok people, leave a comment down below. Follow us on TikTok as well. Football_Junkies Pod. Again, that's Football_Junkies Pod. And to my audio listeners, right? You can listen to us on anywhere that you guys can listen to podcasts at, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, RSS feed, and more. Okay. Football Junkies Podcast. Okay. Football Junkies Podcast. Now, just leave a 5-star review. Leave a comment down below, man. Come on. I want to have a debate with you guys. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions about these various different topics, okay? And as always, I hope I gave you guys the fix that you guys need. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Stay tuned. There might be another episode that might be coming out this week. It's starting to look like a lot of teams are beginning to finalize, deals and trying to create some cap space prior to the season starting. So it's a wait and see. You still got a lot of people that want to get paid. Who knows? Still got a lot of notable free agents that are out here as well. Who knows? But as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you again for listening. Peace and love. I'm out. Is what I would say if there wasn't a breaking news of a bag alert. Well, just as I was getting ready to get up and start recording and whatnot, no. Someone just had to get paid. So guess who just got paid, folks? Guess who just got another bag alert? Sam COSMI, guard for the Commanders, just agreed on a 4-year deal, waiting on the numbers to drop. But, all in all, Sam COSMI has definitely been a consistent guard since being with the Commanders. All in all, just a great situation, honestly. I guarantee you the numbers are nothing like, super crazy and whatnot. They're probably, pretty reasonable and whatnot. But, all in all, they definitely needed to take care of their offensive linemen. And, if we can be real here, Sam COSMI has probably been their best offensive lineman, so far. So, I mean, well, you might as well take care of him now than to try to fight tooth and nail to bring him back in, through free agency and whatnot. So all in all, great situation. But just know this: when those numbers do drop, I will either post them on the story on our Instagram, football_junkies pod. Again, that's football_junkies pod, or I'll just talk about them in the next episode. So now this is where we ended. Okay, this is where we've hit the hour mark. Okay, this is it. We're done. We're done. Peace and love. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. All that other stuff. Blah blah blah. I'm out. Bye.